Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This reports for the 28th of March, and we're still in this continuation of a little soft period here. We had the cyan move over DOC red at the zero level here and a little bit of fading, so this has resulted in what we would expect to see some weakness. We have a reset of the steel, just not a significantly deep one where you would expect that they've moved all the way lower and that they have a brand new supply. So it's just an indication that we're looking at a soft period right now as far as new money, both from a short attack as well. You're not seeing a significant jump in anything. So again, we'll look at the ABM green and those corresponding levels right there, 27.90, and of course intraday we have like 93 as an algo. The thing is, if you break below that, and particularly since they're all at confluence here right at the 76% level, which if we look at that from a Morganacci line there, it's 27.99. So there's a good 10-point range gap right in between there. But a break below that, and this would be something that there's no real range until you get down to the key algo here at 27.62 range, which is now getting close to being the 61% as well as we see the lows rising. So that's what we'll be looking for. Any breakdown. The key has been the NASDAQ has held up things quite a bit, still above the zero on the red DOC there with a complete reset of the shakeout. So as soon as the shakeout turns around, this can literally move right back up quickly. Part of the problem has been this growing back and forth with Brit exit, no Brit exit, hard exit, yada yada. It's just been a full retrace of the move that we saw that popped up, and we knew it would simply because we never had a reset of steel below red, and likewise you're not seeing that now. So we're in continuation mode of the same. We haven't gotten into a dip below the red line, so there's still some support within this, and well within the normalized range that we've expected for quite some time. So none of that has changed. The softness in gold, likewise with the dip below the green from before, and it's just continued. Nothing shocking with that. There's no new impetus to suggest that things would do better than they have. From an intraday standpoint, we had a lot of good signals. I started off posting this one, which was the first short going into the day. Then we ended up dipping down. We had the reset, came over and crossed right about there, and sure enough, that's right when the turnaround began. And then we peaked out one more time right here, and we had the same reset, but look at how much longer it took before anything happened as far as the cyan getting across. Unfortunately, they didn't get a dip below the red line, and short snake continued there. This time the reset wasn't below the red line, but produced the crossover of steel right about this point, and then you ended up with the full signal once the green got over red, having green got over cyan DOC, and the red was continuing a nice strong up tilt. You can see I was following, and interestingly enough, because this pivot stays quite a few different spots, right here. So once that broke over, you had your confirmation, but as soon as it did, rollover took place right about there, and that led to a much cleaner decline right here, presented with the possibility of a turnaround when this steel crosses that cyan. Only difference, no orange dip. That doesn't occur until like right over here, but at that point you're so far past the crossover, doesn't have any strength from an impetus standpoint too. And this is where you look for that confluence of these things to happen at the same time. When this is crossing here, what you want to be seeing is a dip below the orange line, below the red. Likewise with this one was a little late too. Couldn't really infer that one until you got the cyan over, which happened at the 50% anyway. And then we came all the way down, started to build. We kept making new lows until we ended up with the P2 with a strong dip, big crossover of yellow over magenta on the shakeout, and then that led to a slow building. And by slow, I mean it was slow and choppy, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But red DSC kept climbing, as well as shakeout. Nothing you can do with that. And then finally the breakout right off of that little A, B, C type maneuver right there. And it was just a nice solid move. And it wasn't until we got where Azure meets gold, where you could start to look to say, okay, maybe this is about done. But it just kind of traded sideways back and forth, so it produced a lot of little crossover pops with above zero. But see, with that above zero, it's a little more complicated as far as you need to get this kind of nice separation move. And this one was first the short snake, but a cautionary one because this is also on rising shakeout. So it's one of those where, hey, it warns me. It's like, okay, if you want to be aggressive, you've got the high right there, you can attack that one. But you have to expect that, okay, in this case, unless I get good follow through, it could break out to new highs. And then full on right at the 76 when the DOC spread took place. We were right at the plus 15 on the shakeout. So even if you wanted to hold off on that one, would be understandable. I still think it's a fairly decent risk to reward at that particular spot. It kind of traded sideways for a little bit longer simply because of that power of that shakeout setup there. There was still plenty. Where it really started to break down was this inversion of the green to the cyan right here and the rollover of red, and that became clear. And so even if you waited to that 50% move, you had a much higher probability. And at that point, went all the way to the lows. So that was still a decent move, even if you didn't take it from the peak. And then crossover of the yellow above magenta at the same time, huge dip below, and above the 23%, even could be Beckman bar would still be valid. Dip a little bit, kind of that attempt to shake out any weak hands, and here we've had the rally going right back up to the previous peak, and that's where we begin the pre-market. Enlarge that so that we can get a clean look at what we're seeing there, which is just a straight up ride. However, starting to roll right here again at the zero level, and that it's always, I think, some of the best opportunities, because when that happens at that level, you know that there isn't that extra push that's driving it forward. So we'll see if we get a clean cyan break above and green falling below. That would be the indication that this run is done for now, and we'll get some type of retrace. Whether it's a 50% retrace or a little bit more remains to be seen yet, but we'll follow it as it takes place. I'll be putting together indicators for next month, so I'll be looking for that. As always, though, trade well. I will keep putting up charts that are relevant on the Skype chat and any special configurations.